welcome back to Stark Reality Garage. Hey, it's been a little while since I've had a video. Been busy with work and got sick and, you know, those kinds of things. So I have been having an issue in the car again with the check engine light coming on. And what I'm getting is random misfire, and originally it was a cylinder 2 misfire. And I wasn't sure what it was. Maybe a little water had gotten in there because we had a big rainstorm. What I did is I switched the coil to cylinder number 1. Now I've got cylinder number 1 misfire. So I've got a coil that's not happy, worn out, something. So I've got a new set of coils I'm going to put in. I've got a cover to go over the coils, and a couple of other fun things for the car. So we'll get started on doing those. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do, this little cord out of the way from the stereo. This is the stock handle, which is, you know, it's okay. It's kind of, I think, on the small side and pretty lightweight. And it doesn't have the shift pattern. And nowhere in the car does it have the shift pattern. So, you know, when other people have jumped in, they don't know how this thing runs. So I found this knob, nice big, you know, round one. It's got the right shift pattern. This is for a Toyota, and I think this was intended for a truck or something like that. So, but found the right color, so on. So I'm gonna get this put on. It's the right size. It'll screw right on. I've got the little lock nut, so I'll find the right height, and we'll get that thing mounted, and nobody will be surprised by what the shift pattern is anymore. All right. So in case you've never done this before, there's a little catch on the bottom, underneath for. To keep this in the right spot, the boot. You screw on the little lock nut, then you screw this down on top, and then you use the lock nut so that you can lock this in the right position so that it's, you know, not twisted or something like that. So it's pretty simple, and you know, you just got to fiddle with it a little bit to get it lined up right, and you're good to go. All right, so here at the back of the car, obviously you got to pull the brace off first to be able to get to the coils here on the top. It's pretty easy. These are just 10s. These are 14s, by the way. And then you just pull the connectors out, and we should be able to just lift these right out. Here's my offending coil right here. Again, I determined it by just swapping them. Just pulled them out, swapped them over, and sure enough, the new default is following the coil. So that's the best way to figure out what coil is giving you a problem. These were the coils that came with this JDM engine, so I knew they were a little risky. So I just got a whole new set. There were, you know, I don't know, 50 bucks for a new set on eBay or whatever. So the performance ones are crazy expensive. I didn't realize how expensive those were, but we'll go ahead and get this thing pulled apart and swap them out. I mentioned doing some fun things. So one of the things that, well, and I've got everything pulled apart so I can get these studs out, and then I can put in the new little Lotus plastic cover over the top of the coils. And I have a new gas cap. This one was what came with it, and I just spray painted it along with everything else to keep it from going inside, but now I have a new one to put on there. So we'll put that in. Hopefully I can get these out fairly easily. I tried to break them up a little bit, put some PB Blaster on there. We'll see if we can't get those out. All right, so these actually came out easier than I thought they would. Once I kind of got all the paint scrubbed off there, soaked them a little bit, used these vice grips and popped them, they pretty much came right out. So I can screw those out, and I can put in the new ones that are longer and taller so I can put the new cover on. All right, so one of the little tricks I just noticed, or things that you're gonna run into, is you can't, that stud is now so tall that you can't plug in the connector to the coil without lifting this out and then connecting it in. So you got to just connect them up first and then slip it in and tighten it down. So not too big of a deal, just on the number 1 and number 3. All right, so one other thing you're gonna need to do, and it is Loctite this in to the base, because you're gonna use 2 locking screws to put this on, and without the Loctite in there, you can only finger tighten these things because you can't screw up the threads. So some Loctite to get that to stay, so you can screw in and off the lock nuts to hold the cover. So I just put that on there, so I'll give them a minute, and then I'll put those on. So one of the things I just realized as I went to put the cover on is that this is going to be in the way. This is all even underneath here. This came out off the onesie and had a little thing to do with it, but This car doesn't. So it's nice having the little container here that's secured for all the cables, but I'm going to trim this empty piece off so it'll be nice and level right there and fit underneath the new cover. Just going to use a Dremel to do that. Alright, so it's on, and I think it looks really good. Much more of a finished look with those coils covered up. You do want to have the lower nut low enough so that you can tighten this down and have it nice and snug. You don't want it banging around, and want it nice and snug. And there's my new cover. It's got the little sticker for the 2ZZ, which I thought was kind of fun off eBay. I think that turned out pretty good. Now I'll put the bar back on, and we'll be good to go. And I've got the new stick shift knob on there, so some nice little finishing touches. Nothing too exciting, but fun stuff. And I still have a lot more work to do on this car. It's been too dang cold to do much lately, but as the weather warms up, it certainly gets a little easier. So we'll be back with more later. Thanks for watching.